Call in about anything, whatever you want to talk about. You want to talk about the games this weekend? We'll get into them. You want to talk about the matchups this weekend? We'll get into them. Might even go outside the SEC a little bit because I know the next 2 days will be spent talking a lot of Alabama, Georgia. We'll be spent talking a lot of Auburn A&M. But there's a few others in the SEC this weekend that are fascinating. I mean, Ole Miss LSU, I think, gosh, what a great game of good versus good, questionable versus questionable when it comes to sides of the ball. You got some great coordinator matchups this weekend. You have a team in Ohio State that is going on the road and playing against guys, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people that are listening to this show that have never seen the quarterback at Washington play. I'm just telling you, that kid is Kyler Murray. He is the real deal. Big time. Big time, big time. And I'm not saying he can single-handedly win the game, but he can single-handedly make it very difficult on Ohio State. He's got some Johnny Manziel, Kyler Murray qualities that are tough to coach and tough to coach against. That's for sure. We also have a quarterback now in John Mateer that is out for at least the next month, guys. So if you pull up Oklahoma's schedule right now, and I really believe this, like I think, and I think those of you Auburn fans, I don't know, 6.2 million people that watched that game last week, I had a ton of people texting me after the game, texting me during the game. This is the guy that is the best receiver or best quarterback in the country. Like, this guy's the Heisman frontrunner. And it was hard to push back because, frankly, he didn't play great last week by his standards. And this is a guy that had some uncharacteristic misses in the game. A couple throws that were just not as sharp as they were in the first few weeks of the season. And then yesterday, not really a news dump, but I'm sure it was a couple days after he was getting some different opinions from his medical team, we find out that John Mateer has a broken bone in his right thumb. And it happened at about the 9-minute mark in the first quarter. So a few different takeaways here. One, that dude is tough as nails. Tough as nails. And I can only speak from a quarterback standpoint. All right. So I broke my first metatarsal or second metatarsal or whatever. Basically, my pointer finger on my throwing hand at the base of my wrist. I still have a bump there right now, by the way. I can still feel the calcified. Gosh, it makes me mad, but I digress. I broke my hand in the Senior Bowl. Unfortunate, very few guys get hurt in the Senior Bowl. I happen to be one of them. I was in a cast all through draft prep, and it took me about 6 weeks to get my hand back. I tried to stay in the Senior Bowl. I didn't know I broke it. I thought I just hurt my hand. I hit it on a helmet. I've done it 100 times. Tried to stay in there, tried to throw one pass, and that ball sailed 20 feet over the receiver's head. Like, it was not even close. It was a little out route to the left-hand side. I remember it vividly. I tried to grip the football, and I just couldn't. Tried to throw it. That thing took off on me. So, as a guy that has played in a game with a broken hand and a broken finger in his hand, and a broken, I guess it would be the hand, not so much the finger, had a broken bone in his hand, it had a pretty tremendous impact on my accuracy. The one throw I tried to make was 20 feet off the mark, which, not that I was the most accurate quarterback in the world, but 20 feet's a pretty big miss. Then, fourth preseason game, rookie year, same calendar year, by the way. I'm playing against the Philadelphia Eagles, probably about to be the backup quarterback. Things had gone really well for me in the preseason. They're my rookie year. Sanchez didn't play. I started the game. Brunell was kind of injured all throughout preseason camp, had a strained calf. So it was kind of my show, and it was my opportunity to go out there and try to win the backup job. and had a good preseason, played well in first 3 games. 4th game of the preseason, second quarter going in. I hit my hand on the helmet of my center named Matt Kroll, and my thumb basically got destroyed. I mean, it was dislocated, broken, bad. Not good. I tried to hand off the ball on the next play because I tried to stay in the game. I looked at my thumb, and it was like backwards, not the way you want it. Popped it back into place because I'm a psycho. And tried to stay in the game and handed it off the next play. Looked down, and my thumb is laying flat against my palm. And I'm like, yes, probably not good. I'm going to call timeout. So I go to the sideline, ligaments damaged, dislocated, what have you, all that stuff. So bad ball. I couldn't even hand it off. So the fact that John Mateer was able to stay in the game with a broken hand is insane. And I know he won't have the numbers likely now to win the Heisman Trophy, but he's got my universal respect for what he did in this game on Saturday. But just by finishing the game and playing 3.5 quarters with a broken thumb. He's now out, though, for a while, and it's sounding like, and I don't know a lot of the specifics of, wrist surgeries, but it's sounding like it's going to be about a month, but that's probably a bit optimistic. This is about a 6-week injury, based on what I've been told without getting too deep in the weeds. The bone that he broke is a small one at the base of the thumb, and it is a little problematic and unfortunate for Oklahoma because I really believe this is a team that could win the national championship. I really believe at full speed, at full strength, with their quarterback at full strength, I really believe they could do it. Now, you look at their schedule. Kent State, hopefully, won't be much of a problem. Then they have Texas. That's on the 11th. So you have, 17 days or so between now and the Texas game. Probably not going to be back for that one. Then you're at South Carolina. Can Oklahoma get South Carolina without John Mateer? Yeah, I think they can. I do. I think their defense got the ball. I think their defense can. I think their defense at all 3 levels is outstanding. But I don't know if he's going to be back for that one. That's about 24 days from now. Then they have Ole Miss at home. It'll be a very tricky game. Hard game for sure. Before they go to Tennessee, to Bama. So that Bama game, for example, that's on November 15th. That could be the game he returns at 100%. That Tennessee game is on November 1st. I think it's probably a little too optimistic to assume he's going to be ready to go by that one. So Bama will see John Mateer, more than likely. Tennessee might not. South Carolina almost assuredly won't. And Texas, without question, will not see him. So we'll see what it means for Oklahoma. If they can go 2-2 in the SEC in the next 4 SEC games, Texas, neutral site, at South Carolina, Ole Miss at home, at Tennessee. If they can go 2-2, they're still very much alive. If they go 9-3 because they lose 3 SEC games, but they can exclusively point to their quarterback's absence being one of them, how does that factor into the College Football Playoff Committee rankings? We've seen them use quarterback injuries in the past against teams, but could this be a scenario in which they used quarterback injuries this year in favor of what Oklahoma could do in the postseason? Just an interesting thing to watch, interesting thing to consider. It's a dynamic that we have not often addressed. 800-239-9569. Always appreciate those of you that are calling in and looking forward to talking with several of you. We also have a couple fired coaches. We'll get to that as well. Let's go to Melvin in Birmingham. Melvin, how are you?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. It's good to talk to y'all. Anyway, this Alabama-Georgia game, I can't wait to watch it. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I can say this. I'm looking at Ty Simpson from the first game, Ty Simpson, to the third game, Ty Simpson. And I think I see a quarterback that realizes his talent. He's using his talent. I really believe that first game was jitters. And then even if you go back to the Florida State game, I'll take away one decision that he should have made, and that was running for that first down instead of trying to throw it. And then a couple of drop balls. I'm not saying Alabama would have won. I'm not going there. But I
Sure.
will say this. I think a couple of drop balls in that one play, I think you got a different ball game because now you're still limiting the time that Florida State had the ball. Secondly, there were some people that was calling for his head, which I thought was extremely stupid. I heard that on two people that host a show on this station on weekends, and I was like, why would Alabama have gone out to find a quarterback when they had one that that developed? I think now he's the quarterback that Nick Saban recruited, and if they can finish up the job, and if they can play the way they played, there's a very good chance that game is going to be very competitive, and I think it'll be a coin toss as to who won. I don't think this will be a blowout on either team's part. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, I hope Alabama wins. Ty Simpson, I think he's going to be a great quarterback for Alabama this year, and if he comes back next year, which he probably will, I think that Alabama will have an even a better season. They'll have a better understanding of how to play the first game of the year next year. Take care, guys.
Great call, Melvin. Here's the thing that I've noticed with Ty. And I don't know why this was. Well, I do know why, but we won't get into the details. The first game, Ty Simpson played against Florida State. He played not to lose. Does that make sense? Like, he played, and frankly, I thought he had one of the better performances on the entire team that day. So anybody that watched that game that was dialed in, I don't know how you could possibly blame Ty Simpson for what went down in Tallahassee. You just can't. But I do think if there was one criticism of the performance, it was, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to make a mistake. By playing to avoid the key mistake, it made him somewhat hesitant. I know why, but that's not a conversation for today. What I've noticed from Ty Simpson the last two games, he is playing to win. He's saying, forget about it. This game manager label you're trying to put on me, forget about it. I'm going out there and I'm going to throw darts. And I'm going to trust my receivers. I'm going to trust my own abilities. And I'm going to anticipate throws. I'm going to stand in there in the pocket and get hit and still deliver the ball accurately. Like, he is playing to win. And that's a pretty significant thing. And we've talked about this with Jackson Arnold. With how things went at Oklahoma and how things have now gone at Auburn. When you're in there as a quarterback and your coach is telling you, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake, guess what? That's going to lead to you being a little bit hesitant to let go of the football. And it leads to 9 sacks. And I'm not saying that Hugh Freeze is telling Jackson Arnold that. But I bet you he was told that last year. Don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake. I was told that as a player. Don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake. So it alters how aggressive you're going to be. It's a hard thing to deal with as a quarterback. It really is. It's a very hard thing to deal with. I think Kalen DeBoer and company have empowered Ty Simpson, have told him, hey, man, you're our guy. Go out there and rip it. And the results the last 2 weeks have been amazing. Now, those that got in his ear before the season, pretty frustrated by it, frankly. But I didn't lose that game because of him. They lost the game because they struggled defensively on third down. They got gashed in the run game. And the quarterback that they were playing against had a hot hand. It happens. It's life. It's life in college football nowadays. And hopefully this weekend, the defense will be more equipped to take on a team that I think they match up maybe a little better against. As crazy as that sounds, I think Alabama over the last 10 years has been built to beat a team like Georgia. Gunnar Stockton is a really good football player. I got a ton of respect for that young man. I got a ton of respect for him. But he's not as dynamic as Thomas Castellanos. He's not. Very good player. Excellent. But not as dynamic. So can he be more easily contained? We'll find out. I think that's huge in this game. Massive. Because those receivers are going to make some plays. Those guys are good, man. These guys are really good. I do think Alabama has a secondary to neutralize it to an extent, but they're going to make some plays. The big key in this one, can Bama stop the run? Simple as that. Can they stop the run? And with the return of Tim Keenan, I like their chances a lot better of stopping the run this week than I did 2 weeks ago. With Gus Malzahn in a year to prepare, with a super dynamic quarterback, and a team that's playing with the chip on their shoulder. So it'll be a fascinating game and a great one, that's for sure. We see you on hold. We're coming to you. Do not go anywhere. 800-239-9569 is the number. We have nothing planned for the next hour and 45 minutes. If we want to fill it completely up with calls, we will. Mike Gundy gets fired. We got SEC schedule release. The Ryder Cup is being played up against NFL and college. Makes no sense to me, but I digress. So we have a lot of things that we want to bounce around to. We can talk Auburn, we can talk Bama, we can talk whatever. We want to talk Oregon, Penn State? Guess what? We're a show in Birmingham, Alabama, but guess what? That's the beauty of what we do. I could talk as much Oregon, Penn State as you want. You want to talk Ohio State at Washington? Let's rip. I bet you there is not someone in the 205 that knows more about Washington than me. I've watched that team a lot the last couple days, man. I really liked what I've seen. I think that's going to be an intriguing one there in Seattle. So let's bounce it around. 800-239-9569. We see you on hold. We're coming to you. Before we go, I'm going to tell you quickly about Shannara Flooring. They have so much CoreTech flooring by Shaw in stock right now. So much CoreTech flooring. And it's awesome to know that CoreTech that they've accumulated, 50,000 square feet of it, they're going to give to you with a savings of about 20 to 40%. It's a deal you can't touch. Nobody in town has the CoreTech flooring that Foo has. It comes with a 20 mil wear layer, so it's built to last and priced to move. So remember Shannara Flooring. When you want CoreTech, call who? Call Foo. Call them at Shannara Flooring at 205-518-6423, or you can go online at fooandyou.com. All right, coming back with your phone calls, going to bounce it around. We got Mike Gundy, we got Auburn, we got Bama, Georgia, we got a ton of games nationally that have an impact on Southeastern Conference teams as well. We'll do it next on Mac and Q. Ah, I like it. The music from Secession. Or Succession, or whatever the heck you say. I don't even know. Succession.
That counts.
Who's succeeding Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State? Ah. All right, let's dial it up. Your calls. You guys are driving the show. Take it wherever. I'll go literally anywhere. I love college football. I've already done all my game previews. I know as much about these matchups as I can possibly learn. I'm not sure there's another layer to it that we could do, so let's bounce it around. Let's start with BR in Vestavia. What's going on, BR?
What's up, Greg?
How are you, my friend?
Hey, man, what's going on? I could not agree with you more about the Ryder Cup. What a waste of a good event at this time in the summer.
I mean, if you're going to do it, like, do it Tuesday through Friday. I mean, and I understand it's a worldwide audience. I get that. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. I mean, I really want to watch it. I do. And guess what? I won't. And that's unfortunate.
Or do it the last week of when the Tour Championship any time but now. But
anytime but now.
I wanted to ask you. Well, I wanted your opinion. You call Hugh Freeze's games. We've seen him in the SEC for 10 or 11 years now. When I see the penalties, when I see the special teams play, will he ever be a complete coach? Does he have it in him? Because it's infuriating. We've got the players to hang with anybody. But it's just, I go to most of the games and I see it, and I probably watch it as close as anybody. It just, it's never a complete game. Does he have it in him to really pull it all together and be elite, in your opinion?
You know what's funny? Like, I've had people ask me this before. I think Hugh Freeze is a good coach. Like, I really do. Like, I've long thought that. I think his offense is really, really interesting. I think he knows how to play the hits. Like last week, for example, like they found a formation they liked. They found a personnel grouping they like, and they called basically the same play for most of the third and fourth quarter. You know what I mean? Like it was, they kind of found something they liked and they stuck with, and that was against a really good defense, guys. Like I think this Oklahoma defense is the best I've seen this year. I really believe that. But Hugh Freeze can't control, what transpires with the punt unit all the time. Like, granted, yeah, does ultimately the buck stop with him? Yeah, of course. Absolutely it does. There's no denying that. But it's not really always about him. And on the road, how often this year, by the way, I've watched all these teams, Florida, LSU, done Ole Miss on the road. I've obviously watched all the Bama games. Like, I've watched all these games, and it feels like almost all the time these teams now are jumping off sides offensively and getting behind the sticks. Like, it drives me absolutely insane because we have adjusted the snap count. Like, back in our day, it was a very simple snap count. Like, hey, guess what? Lift your leg, point to the ground, do the finger. It's like a trigger finger. Like you would just wiggle that trigger finger, and that was telling the center, hey, it's time to go. Or the right guard, it's time to go before he tells the center because he's making the calls. Like however you want to do it, they've gotten way too complex, I think, from a silent count standpoint. Like we go on the clap, right? The clap, like that pierces through all audio. But to me, I can't even hear myself think when I'm on the road, and yet we're having guys clap. I think we have overly complicated some of the pre-snap mechanics when it comes to snap counts. How about I don't really care what the deal is? I really don't. Like, I really, really, at the end of the day, don't care if the defense has a moderate advantage. I just don't want to be 1st and 15. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so the defense understands when we're snapping the ball. Who cares? At least I'm playing on schedule. And it's kind of across the board. Look at the amount. I mean, the amount of pre-snap penalties we see on the road in college football right now is mind-blowing. The other thing about Auburn, I think with their quarterback, who's a heavy scramble guy, you're going to have a lot of holding calls. It's just going to happen. I mean, because of how Jackson Arnold leaves the pocket, these offensive linemen, I've never played O-line. I wish Cole was here to comment on it. But then again, he played in an era where you didn't have as much mobility at quarterback. I don't know how these O-linemen do it, because they're engaged with the defender, the quarterback leaves, and how do they know when to let go? How do they know when the defender is trying to uncover because the quarterback's taken off? Like, we're going to see more holding penalties in college football now because quarterbacks have become more mobile. It's unfortunate, but it's the nature of doing business. Like, you die by mobility and you thrive by mobility. It's the way it goes. So we're going to see more. I don't think it's a Hugh Freeze problem. I think it's a college football problem. It's an identity problem. It's the way it's gone kind of for everybody. So it's not exclusive to one place. I'm still a believer in Hugh Freeze. I love his offense. But it's the defense that's going to win the day for this group. If their D-line continue to play like they played last week, they're going to be a huge problem for just about everybody on their schedule, including a top 10 A&M team this week on the road. We'll find out exactly how they fare. Let's go to Don in Rockford. Don, how are you, my friend?
How you doing, Greg? I love you. I love your show. Listen, my question is this. Everybody is so quickly to, fire these coaches. I'm a huge Michigan fan. You remember when Ohio State was killing us every year, and everybody was wanting to fire Jim. Everybody was wanting to fire Jim. He takes a pay cut. They keep him. Just imagine if we would have fired Jim. We would have never won a national championship. Look at Dabo. And Billy Napier. Look at the schedule. My gosh. He's got one of the hardest schedules. And to go through the SEC and, instead of being so quick to axe this guy, and, you got a big buyout, how about cut his pay? Cut his pay. Obviously, he's doing a great job, and DJ Liveway didn't even come to the practice field until August, so he's behind the 8 ball. So, people don't realize when you fire a coach, it's going to take 2 to 3 years to get your footing and be successful. I remember the first game against Florida State. You remember what everybody was saying, Greg? Everybody was saying, hey, fire him, fire him, fire him. Listen, give the guy some time. And I know Billy's been there 4 years, and I get that. But it's, who are you going to get to replace him that can be an instant impact, Greg? There's nobody out there. There's nobody that can make an instant turnaround and go and get you in the playoffs. He's not. That coach is no longer around, brother. So, and I got one more question for you, Greg. Just one.
Yes.
And I know you and Cole talked about this, and I love Dabo Swinney. Listen, I'm a huge college football fan, huge. And they've got all this returning talent. And you and Cole both said this, all this returning talent. Have you been able to put your finger on what you think it is?
It's a great call, Don. Let's start first. I'll get to the Dabo Clemson situation in a moment. Let's talk first though about firing coaches. I'm 100% on board with you. I could not agree with you more. Look, we are a reactionary society. No one tries to claim that we're not. We live in the moment. People now have access to social media, and everybody's voice is heard, which is great. Like, I'm all for that. I think it's awesome that people now can be outspoken, if they want to be, about the current state of the program they support. Hey, I don't like this. I don't like that. It used to be, hey, everybody's mad, but nobody knows about it because there was no social media. Like, you can voice your opinion.
Yeah,
the problem is,
and I'm okay with that.
That's perfectly fine, right? But that's not the issue. The issue is that we, in society, for example, there are times when I'll get mad at my son, my 6-year-old son, for picking on his 3-year-old brother. And I will be so mad. I'll be so mad. And I'll he'll get in trouble. He'll go to his room, like all the spank, whatever it is, like, just whatever it is to like the immediate frustration that I have in his actions is stark, right? But after about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I'm not mad anymore. Like, I love him.
Exactly.
I support him. Like, I need to teach him what's right from wrong. Like, I need to help him. Right? He's 6 years old. He doesn't know anything. Like, it's my job as an adult to teach him. But guess what? In the world of social media, like, you press send in that 30 seconds of frustration without allowing things to kind of calm down. And that, I think, is where we're at right now in the world. So, yes, you can be super mad with some of the performance that we saw from Bama in week 1. In the moment, during the game, I talked to 3 or 4 friends at halftime of that game, watching it, equally frustrated, talking people off the ledge, and next thing you know, like, here a week later, they're all fine. So I completely agree. If you want to fire coaches now, you better be darn sure that the next guy is going to be better than the guy that you just had. Because the financial ramifications of paying buyouts are significant. Every dollar you spend on a buyout, there's not some unlimited pool. Like back in the day, it's like you fire a coach, all right, his buyout's $20 million. That's fine. Pay him. We'll get the next guy in. We'll be good to go. Well, guess what? The players now, they cost money. So that every dollar that you spend towards getting rid of the guy that's, quote, not the guy, that's going away from the money that could be going into the roster to enhance your chances of being successful on the field. So unless you know without question this guy is not the right guy, this guy can't coach, this guy can't do this, he can't do that, there's problems here, there's problems there, what have you, you better know darn sure that that guy can't do it, because I personally would rather spend all that buyout money on the rosters in the future so that that roster can be potentially more competitive. I 100% believe that your money is better spent on the roster than it is on buyouts. That's just my opinion. Other people feel differently. Other people are responsive. And a lot of people have deeper pockets than I do. So they're allowed to do with their money what they see fit. But to me, I'd spend it on the players and getting a better team before I'd spend it on the firing of a coach, because I don't like the way it's currently looking in the moment. Long term, it might end up working out pretty good. As far as Dabo's situation, like, I think part of the issue is that they have not for a long time been a super, super physical football team. Like Dabo and his national championships and those teams, they won national championships because of 2 things. 1, quarterback play. Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson were incredible. I don't need to explain that. I could tell my 18-month-old daughter could watch Deshaun Watson and think, you know what, he's pretty dang sporty. My 3-year-old son only watches Paw Patrol, but if I put on a little tape of Trevor Lawrence, he'd be like, that guy's good. Yeah, buddy, he is. It doesn't take a genius to notice that. What they also had was over-the-top good wide receiver play. Guys that could win one-on-one matchups. That's why they were such a difficult matchup for Alabama, and frankly, for all the, quote, Saban disciples, because they run a pattern match scheme that forces you to win one-on-ones, and for a very long time, Clemson had the guys that could do that regularly. They have never been a team that's been elite along the offensive line, ever. And I do think that if you want to be super competitive nowadays, you got to have some glass eaters. You got to have some dudes that are just flat out go-getters, super physical, super tough. Why do you think LSU is hard to play against right now? Because they are absolutely as physical as anybody on the defensive side. Why has Georgia been as good as they've been for the last 7-8 years? Because they are insanely physical up front defensively. And because they're really good along the offensive line. I think you have to be super physical to be super competitive, and I have not seen that this year from Clemson. They got all the dudes that you could want, speed standpoint, talent standpoint, future NFL guys, what have you, but they have not been out. They have not been the more physical team on 2 of their 3 losses for sure, and then they got beat over the top on their other loss. It's a problem, and it's something that they absolutely need to get addressed as soon as humanly possible. All right, when we come back, we'll continue on with your phone calls. We see you calling in 800-239-9569. If you are on hold, hang in there. We'll get to you here right after the break. It's Mac and Cube. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Jocks 94.5. Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal, but don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jocks. Find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com. We continue on with your phone calls. Cole's out today. I believe Cole is speaking to the journalism class at Auburn, by the way. Journalism.
WD?
Cole heard that correctly.
At a college campus.
Yes.
Lord.
Journalism on a college campus.
Oh, okay.
That is next level education.
They're about to learn about some slide protection. I know that.
They are. Cole's going to get up there and get on the board and be like, all right, what do you guys know about scat right protection? All right. What do you guys know about full rip Liz?
Let me teach y'all about watching tape.
Y'all are about to learn. Watch this tight copy here. Watch 87 here. Watch this double team up to the Sam. I love Cole doesn't even have a southern accent. We give him one anyways. Watch, hey, y'all got us. Hey, I'm telling y'all, this is Quentin Nelson. All right, here's how you cover him. Let's go to AJ in Florida. AJ, how are you, my friend?
Hey, doing well, Greg.
Thanks for hanging in there, buddy.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Not what I called about, but you were talking about the Ryder Cup earlier. Same thing with baseball playoffs. I mean, we sit there through the whole summer, and I like baseball, but, have to deal with the whole summer of just endless baseball. Then we finally get some playoff baseball, and it's on Saturday night when LSU is playing Tennessee or something. Well, of course I'm watching the football game, but anyway, I digress on that.
We might be the only ones, but, I think it's look, I'm a Dodger fan. Right, so I've been watching playoff baseball now 13 straight years. We've had a great run, and unless it's during the week, I'm not watching. I'm watching Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If I were them, I'd play all their games. Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday. I'd play all the postseason games then. If it lets you stack pitching, to me, I wouldn't go head to head with football. But what do I know? Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, they completely missed it on that. But yeah, I agree. I got an X's and O's question for you, and I know you're the guy to ask. Last year in the Alabama-Georgia game, the first half kind of blows my mind. The way, the way DeBoer, quote unquote, got Kirby Smart that first half amazes me. And then in the second half, it settled down. Was there something we did that got him? And is that, and I'm thinking probably less likely to happen this time. But do you remember, was there something that schematically that DeBoer, had that day that just totally enabled that first half to happen?
Well, going back and watching it, it was a beautiful plan. I mean, it really was. I don't really know how else to describe it. And I got to be honest with you guys. I know he's our coach and whatnot, but you want to talk about big, and this dates back. Do you realize this is a guy that is 6-0 against Dan Lanning, Steve Sarkisian, and Kirby Smart? That's on game day when it's a big game. There's very few that have been more successful. Watching that game last year, there were a few things about it that were just remarkable. One, I thought McElroy played the best game of his career. I really believe that. I think I take that back. He played the best half of his career. Second half, not so great. If you want me to be completely honest, tried to do a little too much and didn't really allow the reads to kind of come to fruition. But a lot of what they did was pretty standard operating procedure. It wasn't like they reinvented the playbook. But what they did is they really attacked Georgia in two areas. They attacked them sideline to sideline, and they got the big bodies of Georgia running, because one thing that Georgia has not been quite as good at the last couple of years is setting the edge defensively in the run game. They were so elite with that for a very long time, and that changed a bit. I also think that one other area is they took some shots downfield, and they won those one-on-ones downfield. If you want to beat Georgia, you want to play Georgia, you want to move the ball, you got to win one-on-ones downfield. You have to. So a sideline to sideline, attack downfield, and they're going to get some unblocked defenders. That ball's either got to, one, come out, or two, you got to make a guy miss. And their tempo gave Georgia some fits too. They ran some tempo in this game early, and it led to some serious issues. I also, like I said, quarterback run game was big. That will likely not be a big part of the plan this year. Couple early turnovers too, kind of got things behind the eight ball for Georgia. They got behind the sticks a couple times where they're in long yardage situations. They're off schedule. So I think there's definitely some aspects of it that are repeatable, especially in attacking the edges of the defense and taking shots downfield. That's going to be big. The receivers will likely win this game for Alabama if they're going to win it. I think that's where the game is won and lost. If they can win their one-on-ones, they're going to be in good shape, because they're going to get the jet sweeps, they're going to get the sidelines, they're going to get some misdirections, they're going to get some RPOs, they're going to get a lot of that. Now it's about how can they stretch that defense horizontally and then take shots downfield. So we'll see where it goes. They're going to find some matchups, they're going to get some plays, they're going to have the receivers, the wideouts are going to be big, but also running backs in the passing game are also huge too. Second touchdown of the game, Jam Miller on a linebacker on a wheel route. You got to get some of that as well. In this bracket coverage, your running backs have to win in the passing game, which, by the way, Jam Miller's back. Huge, huge, huge addition. Let's go next to Melvin in Birmingham. Melvin, what's going on, my friend?
All right, what's going on, Greg? You doing all right this morning?
Doing great, buddy. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. Hey, I had a two-part question. I know you said yesterday when Bruce Pearl retired that you kind of, knew Stephen Pearl personally. And,
yes.
I was just trying to get a little background on him. And I heard he's, very calculated and very detailed and so forth. And, I know he's very instrumental in our recruiting and player evaluations. So I know he's strong in those suits, but now he's about to take over the whole program. And, it's going to be hard not to expect, some Bruce Pearl, I guess, his way, just Bruce Pearl's way. And I know Stephen Pearl probably going to have his own way, although he's keeping the staff together and so forth. And then I want to know about do we have any advantages on A&M, or do you just think it's going to be a slobber knocker? But that's those two things that I want to hear you talk about.
Let's start with Stephen Pearl quickly. We won't spend a ton of time on it, but I'll tell you this. I think Stephen Pearl is a lot like his dad. I don't know if he's as demonstrative, and I don't know if he's going to be, as energetic. I do think he's a little more calculated. My experience around him, I really, really like him. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's well schooled. I think he does a really good job. Has obviously been instrumental in the recruiting aspect of it, and that's of course huge because you got to be able to recruit more than probably anything else in college basketball. It's more about the Jimmies and the Joes and the X's and the O's. But I think that and his dad's going to help him. His dad's going to help him for sure. So I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good move, and now is the right time to do it because the roster's good enough to still compete. As opposed to Bruce making one more run before he shuts it down, this roster can go right now. So it's going to be a little bit easier transition because of the quality that they have on the roster already. As far as Auburn's matchup this weekend against A&M, I really like A&M, by the way. The biggest difference between A&M this year and A&M from previous years is almost entirely at wide receiver. I mean, they are totally different at wide receiver than they were at any point in the last two seasons. So that is enormous. How can Auburn, they played, I thought, very well last week on the perimeter. I thought they were excellent last week. I think A&M's receivers are significantly better across the board than Oklahoma's. So with the catch and run that you have with Mario Craver, with the catch and run that you have with Casey Concepcion, statistically speaking, those guys, by the way, if you look at their yards after catch numbers, it's like, whoa, like really impressive. And that's something that I would be a little concerned about in this matchup. It's the yards after catch numbers, because if you look at their quarterback, like Marcel Reed, if you can get pressure on him, and I think Auburn can, he'll miss some throws now. If you look at his numbers are not great from an accuracy standpoint. The completion percentage, not bad, but an off-target rate of 17%. That's 131st in college football. So he'll have some big misses. But the problem is on a lot of these underneaths, they can go the distance. They are really good after the catch. Collectively, they're averaging 8 yards after the catch per reception. That's top 10. Mario Craver by himself has 280 yards after the catch this year. That's 14 per reception. So every time he catches the ball, if he catches it at the line of scrimmage on a bubble screen, he's on average taking it 14 yards downfield. That's pretty sporty. And that will test a secondary that could be without Jay Crawford again. We'll see. He's got the knee. Last week, like I said, I thought the DBs were a big concern. I think they played pretty well. But so far, Auburn's defense has given up 230-plus per game through the air. That's in the 90s. So I think they can stop the run. I feel good about that. I think they can harass Marcel Reed. I think they can force some inaccurates. They probably need to get some hands on the football, by the way, and intercept some of those inaccurates because some of them are wildly inaccurate. And then you got to get these receivers on the ground. If you can do that, you got to like your matchup. Because I do think Auburn can run the ball this week. I think they'll be able to run the ball well against an A&M front that will move and shift and do some different things and stem. And I think Auburn can gash them a little bit on the ground. But it will not be easy to keep those receivers contained. All right, take a quick break, come back, Mac and Cube. Breaking. This came out this morning at about 18 minutes ago. Sister Jean of Loyola Chicago fame has decided to retire. She was so fun to watch on the sideline of those Loyola Chicago games, man. Like, it was awesome. Of course, the incredible run to the Final Four back in 2018. Sister Jean has decided to officially hang it up at 106 years old. Golly. Amazing.
We got a long way to go then.
Long way to go. We're just getting started. And we still have another hour here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We'll continue with your phone calls, 800-239-9569. Take it anywhere. I want to talk college football with you in the third hour of McElroy and Cubelic.